Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK Journey video. In this video we're going to be talking about Hugin, who has just come out for raid up recruitment to the Vietnam server and the Pioneer server. We're currently on the Pioneer server, so just keep in mind that some of the content could be subject to change when it comes out onto global release. Either way, let's go ahead and begin talking about the skills of Hugin to see how good is he going to be and is he going to be important for you to recruit on your account. Okay, so he is going to be an A-level hero of the Lightbearer class. Lightbearer faction, support class, physical damage dealer with a range of 20, which is definitely an interesting range. I think the only other hero with a range of 20 right now is Damien. Looking at his ultimate ability, Unstoppable, it begins with 600 pre-filled energy, which is a huge, it's one of the highest that you have, only 400 additional energy required for him to then cast his ultimate for the first time. So his Unstoppable ability will have a passive element. Hugin sets his anvil on the tile where he is placed during battle preparation. As his normal attacks and skills require the anvil, he will remain near it throughout the battle and will always return to it if displaced. Okay, active. Hugin forges a Gear of Might for the ally, dealing the highest cumulative damage, boosting their combat strength. So there's a buff for your hardest hitting damage dealer. The gear increases the ally's attack by up to 10% of Hugin's base attack and increases their haste by 80 for 10 seconds. And this will go up with ultimate power up to 15% attack boost. So this attack boost is not like a huge amount, like it is even lower than Smokey and Mikola, for example. Also, it is only for one ally, keep that in mind. But it is a really high haste buff of 80 for 10 seconds. But however, if you compare it to something like Damien has a haste buff of up to 50 or 55 with maximum exclusive equipment for allies within range. So yeah, I mean, overall, this is definitely an interesting. He's a support hero. He begins with pre-fill energy. He's going to be able to cast this pretty early on in the match, and he's going to power up your hardest hitting damage dealer with an attack buff and a haste buff. And this is one of the highest haste buffs in the game. 80 haste, I don't think any other single hero contributes that much. The passive is really interesting. It's going to be a place where he was during battle preparation, so where he actually is placed, and his normal attacks and skills require the anvil. He will remain near it throughout the battle and will always return to it if displaced. So I guess if he is displaced, he will return back to his anvil. Okay, let's move on to his first ability. It looks like a shield, Titan's Aegis. Hugin crafts a cog shield for the weakest ally, which means lowest health ratio, providing them a shield that blocks up to 660% of his attack multiplier, plus up to, it depends on the skill power you have, damage for 8 seconds. So with 5 skill power, this is up to a 960% of his caster's attack shield, which is definitely high. That's really, really high, honestly. Especially if he has good base attack. This shield can actually be up to almost a full health shield, and it will last for 8 seconds. Yeah, because like generally, like 1000% of your attack is around about your total HP, because your attack is usually 10% of your HP. Anyway, Mechanized Bond is his skill 2. This is going to be when a battle starts, Hugin etches a mechanical sigil on one tile behind him. So instantly at the beginning of the battle, one tile behind him, granting ally on this tile an attack bonus equal to up to 20. Okay, here now we're talking. Now he has even more attack buffs in his kit. So an attack bonus equal to up to 20% of his of Hugin's base attack. Okay, and with skill power, this can go up to 30%, which is really high. The buffed ally gains an extra 75 energy whenever Hugin casts Titan's Aegis. And Titan's Aegis is on a 6-second cooldown, which is really low. And if you give him any haste, this can go down to an even lower cooldown. And each time he casts that, he's going to give 75 energy to the buffed ally. So basically, Mechanized Bond is going to be not only an attack buff, and a pretty high attack buff, but also energy boosting every time he casts his skill 1, which is Titan's Aegis. So this is what is making him interesting now. Now he will have up to 30% of his own attack. Now, the thing is, he is a support hero, so his attack stats should be pretty good. It won't be quite as high as like damage dealers like Lily May or Tassi Taylene, for example, but it could be pretty close to that. Supports do have a high amount of attack. So I feel like up to 30% of his attack is still going to be a high amount. Okay, and then also here, this is going to give an attack boost increasing the allies' attack, and this will be based on the allies' base attack, so 10% of their base attack, up to 15 with the ultimate power. So it's looking so far like giving him the sorcery charms, ultimate power, and skill power are probably going to be the best to maximize the value of his buff, but then he is going to actually provide one of the highest buffs for a single target in the game, but is mainly going to be for a single target. The other thing is that this is going to be granted to the ally one tile behind him, so the positioning will matter, but yeah, you'll just put him one tile in front of your carry who you want that buff. Okay, very good. His hero focus is going to give him haste, 20 haste, and that is going to lower the cooldown of his Titan's Aegis somewhat, and that is allowing him to cast it more frequently and get the energy boost to his allies more frequently, which is really good. Steelbound Kinship is his Mythic plus. Let's take a look at this. Hugin crafts enhanced cog shields for the 2 weakest allies to lowest health when casting Unstoppable. Wow. So each time he casts his ultimate ability, which is going to go off really early on in the fight, he is going to craft these enhanced cog shields for the 2 weakest allies, providing each with a shield that blocks up to 900%. Okay, but let's say you just have +5 or +10 exclusive equipment, then 850% of his attack multiplier as a shield for 8 seconds, which is again strong, and this is going to be on to 2 allies. And level 3 grants control immunity to all allies protected by an enhanced cog shield while it's active. Okay, so not only will you be shielding with this enhanced cog shield, it will also give them control immunity, which is also valuable. However, he will have to cast his ultimate to trigger this, but he does begin with the 600 pre-fill energy. So overall, Hugin is looking great, but we're going to talk about maybe some like basically things which will hold him back from being good. Enhanced Force. While active, Hugin's cog shield and enhanced cog shield also reduce the affected allies' damage. This is crazy. Okay, reduce the affected allies' damage taken by 30%. So you're getting this huge shield to begin with, which is almost going to be like 100% of your health based on these attack multipliers. You're going to gain control immunity at +10 exclusive equipment when you're using Unstoppable to provide these enhanced cog shields onto 2 allies for the 8 seconds, and your enhanced force is going to cause your allies to also take 30% reduced damage. Basically, they're going to be pretty much immortal or invincible when he is casting, when he has these enhanced cog shields onto your allies, and even the regular cog shield is going to have this damage reduction. Now, the thing is, his regular Titan's Aegis, this is only going to be one weakest ally, but his ultimate cast, which will have the Mythic Plus ability, is going to be on the 2 weakest allies with the enhanced cog shields. And the thing is, though, Titan's Aegis is only on a 6-second cooldown, and this shield is going to last for 8 seconds. So I don't know, is he then going to prioritize and recast this onto the next target who is unshielded currently? I would think that would make sense, and then giving them the damage reduction. So overall, I really like his kit. He has a synergistic kit. He is going to be a good support, definitely, but let's talk about some issues. Now, heroes who begin with high pre-fill energy, the number one problem is they're probably going to cast their ultimate first and get interrupted by Lily May. If Lily May interrupts Hugin, that is a major problem because he can't then activate or get any value from his Mythic Plus. He's not going to have the enhanced cog shields at all. He's going to be completely reliant on his Titan's Aegis to protect one weakest ally and these other buffs that he has to power up your damage dealer. Now, the problem also with Hugin is, like supports, they have a major problem that they might end up dying. Now, Hugin is not going to have as big of a problem because he has a long range. So I think what it will mean is that he will not have to walk up to the front line. So he's not like a Mikola who has to run into the enemy territory and is much more likely to get killed. He can sit in the back. However, you're going to have him one tile in front of your key carry or damage dealer who you want the buffs on. So he is going to be a little more front. He can't be completely in the back. But the problem is, if the opponent has any form of AoE damage, crowd controlling, Iron, for example, nuking him at the beginning, these are all going to be ways to basically counter Hugin because he has the same kind of problem as Sonya. Sonya, after casting her ultimate, is basically one of the strongest heroes in the game. However, her issue is that she cannot cast her ultimate reliably in PvP, in regular arena or supreme arena. The matches are just too quick, or she is basically killed too easily that she is not able to get off her value. Now, Hugin, he won't be running into the front like Sonya. Hopefully, he'll be able to cast his ultimate. He also begins with that pre-filled energy, but I mean, everyone runs Lily May, and so Lily May is going to counter him pretty hard because then he's going to be reset back to 0, and most likely he can get killed before he can actually cast his ultimate. So I'm worried about him into Lily May. I don't know his performance in regular arena and supreme arena because of the fact that the problem remains that he is susceptible to being killed, and then a lot of his value is going to disappear. However, one thing which it seems like it will remain is the Mechanized bond. It seems like this Mechanized and mechanical sigil is going to remain for the whole battle, but I don't know. We're going to have to see that through testing. Does it actually disappear? If it disappears on his death, then that's also even limiting. That's another major like issue with Hugin. So yeah, I think the thing is, when it comes to supports, the reason Damien is so strong is because he can respawn his Toy Chariot. Hugin has no method like that. If Hugin had some, for example, invincibility procs, like Tossie, or immunity to fatal damage, or even, for example, like able to respawn or resummon himself, then he would be amazing. Like, his kit is really good, but I'm worried about him being killed too easily. Now, let's talk about other areas. AFK stages, I think he's going to be great, because he's just basically a better Lightbearer supporter compared to the other support options we have. And for Dream Realm, he definitely will have potentially some uses, because you always are thinking about running like a hard hit, like a really powerful buffer. However, the problem with Hugin is he's only a single ally buffer. He's mainly only going to buff up one of your allies. The shielding is pretty much useless in Dream Realm, other than pre-endless, where maybe you might be dying, which is just kind of like niche use, I consider. And so a lot of his kit is going to be wasted, all of the shielding basically, and it only comes down to his attack buffs and energy buff, which is kind of good. But I mean, I think really it will be maybe him being used in a Harok team to power up the Harok even further, and then be food for the Harok, basically. That's one thing I could imagine working out well for the Hugin. But yeah, okay, so one other thing to think about is that this attack buff from his ultimate is only after casting, and so that is going to be kind of, again, the issue that, like, if he gets devoured by Harok, this attack buff disappears, and it will just come down to the Mechanized bond, which hopefully will remain, and then he can be viable for Harok. If this is not going to remain, then he wouldn't really even be viable for Harok, because if you compare it to Sonya, Sonya ramps up to a 54% attack buff with her maximum charms, and that is going to be high, and onto 2 allies, whereas Hugin is only going to be at most 30% of his own attack buff, and then also a 10 up to 15% here, 45 basically percent, but some is his own attack. So Hugin is not going to be at all as good as Sonya for Dream Realm in general. So I find it hard to believe he's actually going to be a great Dream Realm hero, but I think for AFK stages he is going to be an upgrade. But I mean, you don't need him. Like, you can still run Lightbearer Tossie comp without him. So yeah, in terms of like must pull status, I do not think he's a must pull as of right now. I definitely think he's an interesting hero though, one of the better A-level heroes we've received this season, and let's see with more testing where he actually can be used. But you guys can let me know your thoughts about Hugin in the comment section down below. Maybe I missed something, and you can feel free to share that, but we'll hopefully be doing some testing very soon when we can like have access to it on the Vietnam server, because right now I don't have the resources on the Pioneer server to actually build them up to Supreme Plus, but maybe we might be getting that too. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll hopefully see you in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.